It's time for the final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day, so join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
Key thing is you want to minimize his opportunities, and we didn't do a good job of that last year, and we didn't maximize our opportunities. Like I said, 3 turnovers inside the 10-yard line where we got no points, and now you keep giving them the ball, and that guy's just too good.
I just got to stay level-headed and just, remember that, we have a game plan to execute and just try to focus on that as much as I can and try not to get wrapped up in all the emotion early on.
Welcome in, everybody, to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on this Wednesday night. We're off and running towards the weekend. Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, yo, and the Professor Tom Hayes. All together, 800-956-7266 is our phone number if you'd like to become part of the discussion tonight here on Sports Talk. Busy show. More from the Gamecocks and the Tigers as we look ahead to their big games this weekend. Clemson on the road at Louisville. USC, the home opener, finally, for the Gamecocks against Kentucky. We'll talk about that. The M&M boys at the bottom of the hour. Will Merritt, Corey Miller scheduled to be with us. So we've got another dynamic program for you. Your thoughts are welcomed as well. 800-956-7266. You can email us, talkback at sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. We are rounding that curve and heading towards this week's games, and I'm feeling really good about South Carolina. Today, Wednesday's the day I get a chance to go back and watch some video of the opponents, and I watched Kentucky struggle against Eastern Kentucky on Saturday. Now, they've had trouble with Eastern Kentucky before, right? But they had real problems with them last Saturday in Lexington before winning. They're kind of a banged-up team. They've got a center who's hobbling. They've got a running back who's a little banged up. Their quarterback situation, they tried to get Drew Barker some work. It did not go well for him. Johnson remains the primary guy at quarterback. They do have some good players. They do have some good receivers. There are 3 players who will play for Kentucky from South Carolina. Yes. Blake Bone, wide receiver from Woodruff, had a couple of big catches in the first half. Then you've got Taven Richardson from Burns, who played some as well, and Naquez Pringle from Carver's Bay, who will start at the nose or the defensive tackle in there. So a little bit of a South Carolina high school football flavor at Kentucky.
Where my optimism reigns for South Carolina in this football game is that I think that South Carolina will win this game in the trenches, namely with their defensive line, which has shown dramatic improvement over the first couple of weeks of this season, especially highlighted in the Missouri contest. I think that they're going to have a field day with that banged-up offensive line unit against Kentucky. I would expect, Stallworth, Kinlaw, a lot of those guys inside to make their presence felt. And on the other side of it, I think this could be the game where we really see the South Carolina running game really take its first big step forward. We saw the first fruits of that in the second half against Missouri. I think you're going to see a big game out of guys like Rico Dowdle, A.J. Turner, and Tyson Williams, because this sets up as a tailor-made game for them to break themselves out.
I'm interested in looking at the defense because I thought last year when they were really paper thin, Muschamp and T-Rob used smoke and mirrors last year early on, and of course the depth problem got caught up with them. I thought I saw a little bit more use of depth on the defensive line against Mizzou last week.
Yes.
And if that continues, then that defense will be good down the stretch. And, Corn, I'm interested in seeing how South Carolina plays the run because I think Kentucky is going to try to man up and play smash mouth to see if they can kind of shake South Carolina up because their running game has been successful during this 3-game stretch when Kentucky has come out on top.
This is true. Benny Snell got a little bit banged up against Eastern Kentucky, but I think he'll be okay. Saheem King is the freshman running back who has great speed, and he'll get a lot of carries as well. I just don't think they got enough for the Gamecocks this time around, especially in Columbia, especially with the momentum this Gamecock team is carrying. They have struggled out of the gate. They went down, did play Southern Miss down there, won by 7. I guess that's an okay win. And then, again, had to struggle for everything they could get against Eastern Kentucky this past weekend, finally winning by 11. Now, Eastern Kentucky, even though they're an FCS team, they've got 14 FBS transfers in their program.
Right.
So they're practically FBS playing at the FCS level.
And don't underestimate the value of Bryson Allen Williams, who got a lot of work last week at the Buck. He was not only a very good port of that rush defense attack, but also was able to get to the quarterback. And I think if you can stop the run and you're going to put Kentucky in 3rd and long or 3rd and medium, I think that's just a great opportunity to pin your ears back and really get to Stephen Johnson.
But Johnson is an elusive guy.
Yeah.
They run the RPOs with him and just plain option with him. So he's a guy that you have got to you got to contain. You can't afford to turn your back on him and leave the field open, because he will take off and run. And he's not a bad passer, about 62%. He's not thrown a pick yet, 2 touchdowns. So the interesting thing in this deal at Kentucky is Drew Barker. Remember, he was the man.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
He was that's the guy South Carolina wanted a few years ago.
Right.
And they went to the mat with Kentucky for him. And he decided to stay home, be the face of Kentucky football, whether it's by performance or injuries, whatever the case may be. It has not worked out for him at Kentucky. And he just is, he's just the backup to Stephen Johnson, who is, as a junior college transfer, firmly established himself as the starter.
Where's G.A. Mangus now? He may transfer up there. I mean, G.A. Mangus stayed at his doorstep when he was recruiting
wanted him
him
really, really badly. And at one point in time, they thought they were going to get him. There's a linebacker that they have who's a backup at Kentucky that South Carolina recruited really hard out of the state of Kentucky, Cash Daniel. And he's a backup for Kentucky. You'll see him play a good bit.
See money for them?
Yeah, he could be. Yeah. He can
could be counterfeit cash too.
Well, they'd like to make him counterfeit cash.
More like a wooden nickel.
So I'm looking for the Gamecocks to roll, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it'll be close. Now, Clemson and Louisville, we're going to hear from Brent Venables. And, I am not picking against Clemson. Okay, I'm just not going to do it.
I don't feel very good.
I'm not going to pick against Clemson until they give me a reason to pick against them.
I have a reason. His name is Lamar Jackson.
Well, but you know what? I got a reason too. His name is Christian Wilkins. His name is Dexter Lawrence. His name is Cleveland Farrell. When you've got defensive ends,
I know,
who are as mobile as Clemson's, and they are now at the linebacker position, 3 fast guys there at linebacker. And Venables will come up with a game plan. What Clemson's going to do, I'm just guessing here. I mean, I don't really know, but I think that they can probably feel like they can man up in coverage, keep the linebackers wide, to keep Jackson funneled into the middle, and hope that or expect that Wilkins and Lawrence will handle their men in the middle, and Jackson's not going to find any place to run. The hope is then you just don't get beat deep with his big arm.
One of the problems with that strategy is Jackson.
There's nothing wrong with any strategy I espouse. I can promise you that.
Well, there is a problem, and they'll find it. If anybody finds it, it's Bobby Petrino. The interesting thing is Jackson, as elusive as he is, does not mind running up the middle on you.
Oh, yeah.
See, the thing about Clemson is their defense likes to roam. They like to move. They like to shake and bake. And that's where teams have attacked them successfully, is up the middle. Those quick screens and the quick draws by the quarterback. And that's where those tackles have to stay at home against Louisville, because they'll attack you right in the middle.
He's looked better against Purdue and North Carolina than he did last year. And I think he's more mature. And this is a group that put up 36 on Clemson's vaunted defense last year. I know Clemson's defense is better than last year, at least that we can see.
Well, it was 28-10. Then Clemson started turning the ball over. If they don't turn the ball over,
right?
And
I'm just saying.
Now Louisville.
It's scary.
You look at Louisville's defense. How are they going to play Clemson? Do they respect Kelly Bryant yet as a passer, or do they put 8 and 9 in the box and say? But he beat Auburn a couple of times with his legs and his arm.
Just don't know if they can score enough.
All right, back in a moment. Welcome back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266. Get to some phone calls in just a moment. Yes, sir.
I saw a funny story. I don't know if you saw this. Apparently somebody
Probably
snuck,
not.
Apparently somebody snuck into the Clemson game as a fake ESPN employee.
Oh, yeah, I did see that. That was a few days ago. Yeah, I saw that.
That was that came across my purview today. I found that very interesting. That
Did the same fake ESPN employee tweet out fake mean stuff like a real ESPN employee did the other day that got her a tongue lashing by her employers? Yes, she still has a job, apparently.
I don't know if that
network's going down the tubes.
You're not happy with them. You're not happy with them right now.
Well, I mean, look, if they didn't have the rights to every major sporting event on television, and if they weren't in bed with every major sports organization in the world, there'd be no reason to watch. Their daily programming and everything else, most of their talking heads are idiots, and most of their programs are stupid. And now when they are allowed to express their political views that, 48% of the country probably disagrees with, you're going to run people off.
I like their college football coverage, but a lot of that has been muzzled in favor of more on the NFL and the NBA.
Yeah. Excuse me. A couple of quick notes I want to get to that are important. First of all, the entire state mourns the loss of Alex Hawkins, former Gamecock great, former NFL standout, died at the age of 80 in Columbia. And boy, he was not only was he a great football player, he was a character,
right,
on and off the field. Did television work.
CBS.
He was an author. Yeah, just a terrific
he
guy.
He bought a farm down near my hometown, just outside
on the
of
river.
Denmark. Yeah,
on the river, as a matter of fact. So sorry to hear about the passing. He had been in declining health for the past few years. This popped out today. Hello, Georgia, and your internet feed. Georgia tweeted out on its football feed that they tweeted out their schedule for 2018, which they weren't supposed to do.
Yeah,
because the SEC likes to hold that stuff for the SEC network. Yeah. And so thank you, Georgia, for breaking the code there. But anyway, it showed that the South Carolina game against Georgia next year, first of all, they're going to open up with Coastal Carolina.
Yes.
How about that? And then they play the Gamecocks. That's on September 1 of 2018. Then they'll play the Gamecocks on September 8th.
I'm looking forward to that.
So I'm sorry, I'm wrong about that. What am I doing? I'm looking. South Carolina will play Coastal Carolina on September 1st. My bad, not Georgia. I'm looking at All right, so well, that's even interesting. South Carolina's opening up against Coastal Carolina next year,
and then
maybe we knew that, maybe we didn't. Did we know that already?
We did know that.
Okay,
that was something that was part.
I probably knew it at some point and then forgot it.
I thought Joe Moglia said years ago he wasn't going to play.
Well, they're an FBS team now. They're not an FCS little puppy anymore. So the Gamecocks in 2018 is what I'm trying to get to. Their non-league games will be home, Coastal, Georgia, Marshall, and Chattanooga, and then they'll play at Clemson on November 24th.
Right.
Ben Boulware got cut yesterday by the 49ers off their practice squad.
Sad. I wish he could find a place to stick, man.
His tweet was really funny.
Yeah.
As he tweeted, he goes, here's how my day went. Rented a very expensive apartment. Met my parents and I think girlfriend maybe at the airport coming out to visit. Found out I get cut on the same day.
That's
tough. But that's one of the tough situations about the NFL, in that a great college player does not have a position at the NFL level. Remember the 5'9" defensive end that Virginia Tech had, who would be in the backfield on every play,
absolutely.
But he did not have a position in the NFL for a 5'9" defensive end.
Absolutely. The SEC announced all the tip times for the league basketball games this coming season, and USC will have 3 9:00 tips.
I guess I'm going to those.
Always look for those. You don't think I can stay up that late?
I don't know how much your night owl days have passed you by.
No, they're going to play Missouri.
They are. Although
in Columbia, 9:00.
Although you said I'll probably be at a bowl game at that time.
January 3rd, we could very well be occupied. January 16th, Kentucky will be a 9:00 tip. Now that could be something special.
I want to see that Missouri game because I want to see those Porter brothers play.
Now, there's only only one Sunday game for the Gamecocks, and nobody will be here. It'll be New Year's Eve. That won't be here anyway. It's at Ole Miss, so that's good.
There is that one game on the Tiffany Network. They play Florida on a Saturday afternoon.
And they have one CBS game.
That's what I'm saying, on the Tiffany Network.
Florida?
Yeah, Florida.
The what network?
The Tiffany Network. They used to be owned by the Tiffany Company. That's what they call them.
Yeah. Let's talk in words that people understand around here.
It's a Tiffany Network.
Mr. Smartest guy in the room.
Maybe one of you get
Tiffany
caught
Network.
into that four overtime game that they played against Bama.
That was a great game.
Yeah.
That was a great game. All right, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Let's go to Glenn in North Charleston. Glenn, welcome into Sports Talk. How you doing?
How you doing, Mr. Phil?
We're doing fine, thank you.
And I wish the professor and everybody there, I hope they're having a good evening.
Wish Will a good
He
evening.
doesn't like to wish me a good evening for some reason, Glenn.
You must have been mean to him one time.
Did I do something wrong, Glenn? Why are we not on speaking terms?
Who? We're always on speaking terms.
Okay. You just never mention my name. You always mention Phil and Pro.
I'm a little more familiar with your name.
In time.
Hi.
All right, what's on your mind?
You know, I didn't mean to ignore you.
All right, turn your radio down, Glenn. You can't listen to the radio and try and talk to us. That doesn't work. It's hard enough communicating without the 8-second delay. Let's try it again. Glenn, what is on your mind?
Yes, sir. Like I said, I'm sorry I didn't mean to ignore anybody there.
Yeah, let's move on past that. We're good. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay. But, yeah, I'm not underestimating the defense. They've come up when they're needed. And I think they'll play great against Kentucky. And I think that we have a good chance of beating them and being 3-0. And they're at home, too. And if we get the student body there, you've got that. If we get noise, we got a blackout that night and all that.
And don't forget
the DJ.
Don't forget the DJ.
Oh, yeah. And the rooster crowing and everything.
Woohoo.
And the gamecock crowing. And, you know, we got it going. We got it going. We'll beat them. You know, no problem.
Well, I think the Gamecocks, and thank you, Glenn. We appreciate the phone call. The Corn Power Index came out today. Did you see that? The KPI?
No, I didn't.
Well, everybody's got a power index now.
KP, I thought that was peeling potatoes.
48% chance I have put on the Gamecocks to come out of September 5-0.
Get down.
48% chance.
48%.
Well, I think they'll be 3-0 after Kentucky. Then they'll be 4-0 after Louisiana Tech. Sorry, Skip Holtz. And then they go out to Texas A&M.
It's not a game that scares me, Corn. It's not a game that scares me. Those two games that you are scared of.
You said not a game that scares you?
No.
That's what I'm saying. They'll be 4-0.
No, I'm saying that the A&M game is what I'm saying.
Well, then, yeah, Texas A&M, it's 52% versus 48% there. I'm still giving the home team the benefit of the doubt.
The game against A&M and the game against Tennessee, neither of those games scare me.
Against Tennessee, either.
Neither of those games scare me because those teams are not good teams. I don't think those teams are good.
Not yet.
Well, I mean,
I do not think those teams are good.
Well, I mean,
they're not garbage, but I don't think they're better than the Gamecocks.
Tennessee is, they're 2-0. They haven't been.
So is most of the country, Phil.
They haven't been great early on, but you know they've got a chance. You know they've got a chance to get it going. And I like that young quarterback they've got. I mean, that guy is big with a big arm. If they protect him, he'll get the ball to those receivers.
Muschamp owns Tennessee, though, here and in Florida.
Yeah, he did beat them last year.
Yeah.
How do you do against him at Florida?
Very well.
Yeah. Well, we shall see. It's going to be in Knoxville.
I don't think he lost to them. It was either 3-1 or I think he was undefeated against. I don't think he lost to them once.
Well, why did the Gators fire him then?
I told you why they fired him last year, or 2 years ago on yesterday's show, because they have increased expectations in Florida and they're uppity and they think they should be in the Gator Bowl instead of the Birmingham
So who
Bowl.
do you like this week, Florida and Tennessee?
Do I have to pick one?
Well, eventually this week you're going to have to pick
I'll
one.
pick Tennessee because I like their quarterback situation better than
Oh,
Florida's.
I just mentioned the quarterback situation, so you're agreeing with that now.
But I still think South Carolina's better.
I think Florida intercept 4 passes and take it back for touchdowns and win the game.
Didn't they do that one year?
Well,
or was
no.
that what year didn't they have a game there where one team like ran back a bunch of passes or had a bunch of turnovers
Something
they
like that.
converted?
Almost did it against Michigan. At least did it for a half.
All right, we're going to hit a break here at the bottom of the hour. all goes well, we'll have the M&M boys with us, Will Merritt and Corey Miller. And also coming up, Brent Venables from Clemson and USC quarterback Jake Bentley, plus more of your phone calls here on a Wednesday edition of Sports Talk. And Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network here on a Wednesday.
Your rhythm is
pretty good.
It's still not good.
That's pretty good considering I had no clue that beautiful piece of rap music would be underneath me as we came back from the break.
Sounds like the robot from Lost in Space.
Let's go to
your rhythm is the equivalent of a dancer who has two left feet.
Okay. Thank you for that.
How about 2 right feet?
Let's go to the M&M boys back together again after being separated last week. We've got the Pasteur de Payne, Corey Miller. Corey, how are you?
Doing great, guys. Glad to be back with you. Sorry about last week, but had the youngin, as they say, as he went through his surgery.
Yeah. Well, best wishes to him, please, from all of us.
Yeah. How's he doing?
He's actually doing great. He's doing great. Just, the rehab process now, basically really just letting it heal for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then they'll start some more intensive rehab, get them back lifting weights. And, they're the chance get back if they get to the SC championship game and then playoffs. So he'll be ready to rock and roll. So he gave him 10 weeks. He's on the 2nd week. So, I know he'll work hard and everything they ask him to do to get back. So that's the goal right now.
That's very good news. That's very good news. I'm sure Alabama people will be happy to hear that. Let's welcome in Will Merritt. Mr. Merritt, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. And by the way, the thought of hearing you guys dancing together, a bunch of guys dancing in the studio together.
Exactly.
That's just not good. That's just not a good. It's not a good vision. I just don't want that.
Well, Corey's seen me. Corey has seen me. Do my thing in person. He can attest for the skill.
Where this is going the direction that we don't. I haven't seen. Do your thing. What are you talking about?
Talking about dancing,
man. I don't even know what Phil's talking about right now, Corey.
I'm talking about hip hop, man. Look,
I don't like any of it.
I go to a Clemson game. I get caught up in the DJ music. You're going to go to a South Carolina game. They got the bands can just stay home. They'll play the hip hop and the DJ music, and everybody will feel cool. We all want to feel cool now, don't we?
We are cool. Cooler than cool. We're cold. I am cold.
Hey, well, I mean, all jokes aside, hey, Corey, I really hope Christian is getting better soon, man. I really
appreciate it, brother. He's doing good, and like I said, we always have on his plan, and he's going to be just fine. He got a good attitude, and that's the main thing I was concerned about because I know he worked so hard. So I appreciate you saying that. I really do. I mean that.
That's good stuff. Well, Corey, let's begin with you. The Gamecocks are 2-0, a chance, I think a good chance to get to 3-0. What are you seeing in this team so far?
I really like this team. I've been saying it all along. I like the approach. I like what they bring to the table. And you know me, I'm not really a stat guy. I don't get caught up in all that. But I see what they're doing on the field. They're making plays when they need to make plays. I like the adjustments. Just they win the turnover battle, and I like their confidence and their tough play. I mean, they got down 10-0 in Missouri, bounced back and won 31-13, and they're winning every phase of the game. Special teams as well. Debo Samuel has been outstanding, and I just love what Will Muschamp is embodying right now with this football team, and I think it's contagious. And I knew he would do that. I mean, he's been doing that for a while, and he's changing the culture here. It's going to take some time, but really impressed the first couple of weeks to be 2-0 with a neutral site game and an on-the-road game. And now they get to come back home, as you said, with the DJ and the Pyro stuff. It's 2001 and for outstanding game day experience. And I'm looking forward to see what they can do against Kentucky.
Will is Clemson personality, if you will. Has South Carolina exceeded your expectations for the first two, or are you expecting them to make that happen?
There's no doubt. And here's the thing. I think Corey just kind of hit on it a little bit. I think that South Carolina is actually taking on a little bit of the identity of their head coach. And I think Clemson's done that for quite some time now with Dabo. But, I mean, if you watch Muschamp on the sideline, everybody they're off the bench. They're on the sidelines. They're up against – I mean, they have that fiery attitude. And if you watch what he does, I mean, everybody is just they kind of take on his identity, and I think that's fun to watch. I mean, listen, guys, I really think it's good for the state, period, to have two schools in a state like ours, to have two programs that are doing well. But I mean, I just kind of watch this program, and he's a defensive-minded coach, okay? And if you watch that defense run out on the field, they're dying to go out there and get 3 and outs and get off the field, and that's kind of fun to watch.
It's the M&M boys, Will Merritt and Corey Miller. So it's another shot at Lamar Jackson. You won last year, Will, but he got 457 yards of offense on you and almost beat you there at the end. This will be their home opener. I dare say this is the biggest game that in Louisville's history. Maybe the Florida State game last year, but what did that get them? This year with Clemson, they got a chance to now get somewhere if they can beat the Tigers at home. Boy, what can Venables and company dial up to control this guy?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, you talk about Lamar Jackson from last year to this year. They say he's more mature. They say he's a better player. They say he's smarter between the ears. They say all these good things about him. But at the end of the day, I mean, guys, I'm sorry. You still have to go beat that defensive line of Clemson. And that defensive line is pretty special. You know, I talked to Coach Bowden, Tommy Bowden yesterday. I actually called to just talk to him, make sure that he and his and Linda were doing okay with the hurricane and all the flooding down there. And he said that the one thing that he saw was the fact that this defensive line and this linebacking core is hard to block. And I mean, Louisville might be really good. Okay. They might be great on offense. They still got to go block Clemson. And right now, people just are having a hard time blocking Clemson. Ask Gus Malzahn how tough it is to block this defensive line.
Corey.
So I'm not gonna pull against this team, and I'm not gonna bet against this team until somebody proves to me that they can block them.
All right, Corey, tell me honestly, should Clemson fans be scared of this game, or should they be confident?
Absolutely, you got to be scared. I mean, you know, this is a guy in Lamar Jackson, the best football player in the country. We saw what he's done. That's why I'm not going to be shocked because he came into Clemson last year in their backyard and had 457 total yards.
And he was the second. He was the second best player in the country last year, right?
And by the way,
he was the second best. Second best.
He was the best player because the best player wins the trophy.
Well, he was second best. I think we all agreed Deshaun was the best player in the country last year.
I disagree. I think Lamar Jackson was the best player in the country, and he proved that by taking home that trophy. That's an argument for another day. But they should be afraid to answer your question.
Then he would have won the game, Corey.
Well, he win the game. He should have won the game because that receiver had to take a step forward. He had a first down. You lose. We have this on a different conversation. Lamar Jackson is the best player in the country. It lays the best player in the country, and now we're going to hype up his defensive line.
One at a time.
We'll hold on. Go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
Okay, he played a team that, they had a great 11 sacks, you know, all this stuff, and now they're the best defensive line in America. I mean, it's one game, okay, but this team has had great defense under Brent Venables the last 3 years. I think people forget, and I'm going to say the defense he had the last 2 years until this team prove it, not just a game against Auburn, but for a season, they were just as good. They came in your backyard on a Saturday night, high intensity, 80-plus thousand folks, which is a hostile place to play, and he willed that team back in that ball game and really had that guy stuck the football out. We have a different conversation. So, yes, they should be afraid. I mean, they should fear because Bobby Petrino, one of the best play callers in America, they're going to present a challenge. And so, you know, you're not just going to walk in there and win. We don't know what Kelly Bryant's going to be like on the road in that type of environment. So there's a lot of question marks still.
All right, hang on. We're going to come back real quick. We'll get your picks for the two games, get your final thoughts on each team.
I want to hear Will respond to Corey about his assertion.
He'll respond. Don't worry. It's the M&M boys, Will Merritt, Corey Miller, here on Sports Talk. Back in a moment. All right, we are back. It is Sports Talk, brought to you by your South Carolina Electric Cooperative, sponsors of this year's annual Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl. And to find out more about what the co-ops are doing across the state, visit ecsc.org and save that date, December 9th, for the 2017 Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, formerly the North-South game, that Will Merritt played in and starred in many years ago. Of course, Corey played in the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, that's right.
Corey.
MVP too, by the way. MVP.
Oh, don't worry, he'll tell you. Hey, as a former NFL linebacker, and you got Deshaun Watson going to make his start tomorrow night. I mean, I think it's the beginning of a Hall of Fame NFL career, don't you think?
Phil,
come on, Corey.
You should join Marty Simpson on stage. You're so funny. Let me just, I don't know. Deshaun Watson's a hard worker. That's one thing I do know. He's very confident. He's going to put in the work. I don't see it yet, honestly. I thought the game against Jacksonville. I mean, Tom Savage, both those guys got sacked. Well, they had 10 sacks, and it was Jacksonville. So, you don't know. I thought this team had some weapons. I thought they'd be a good team for him to go to, but after the first game, it doesn't look that way. But we'll see. It's hard for any rookie. No rookie goes out there except Dak Prescott, but he had all the pieces around him, including a great offensive line, the best running back in football, so he didn't have to do too much. Deshaun Watson doesn't have that right now in Houston, so I think there's going to be some struggling. But, we know he's going to work hard, and I think he'll do the right things, and we know that's going to happen. So we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. Sure.
So Will, clarify for me, who did you think was the best player in college football last year?
Well, I mean, it was no doubt in my mind. Deshaun Watson was the best player in college football last year. And I know that's hard for Corey to hear, and I'm sure it's hard for him to even articulate the fact that he was the best player in college football. But, guys, let's face it. He won the national championship. He was 14-1. He beat the beloved Alabama Crimson Tide. Everybody's just
still the best program in America.
Well, I would. You can't say that right now, Corey. Come on. Clemson is clearly the best program.
I cannot say that.
Because Clemson's the reigning champions, and they beat Alabama head to head.
Alabama's still the best program in America. Look at the last 10 years.
Why didn't they beat us?
I'm not just using 1 year. They're still the best program in America. Period.
Then why didn't they beat us?
They won one game. They lost games before. They go to the championship every other year and win. You won one in 35 years.
We were there 2
you won
years
2
in a row
in your history.
2 years in a row.
We have a lot of other schools. Alabama's been dominant. Come on, give me a break. Yeah. 2 years in a row. You're not even in the class with Alabama. If you won a championship, great. That's kudos to them. I give them props for that. But don't put you're not in the same class.
We were one play away from beating them twice in a row.
Yeah, and they were one play away from beating you 2 in a row. That can go both ways.
But
you don't want a pick route, which is illegal.
They didn't beat us.
We're not having this conversation.
Knew the pick route was going to come up.
It's not illegal unless they call it.
And not just one 3 pick route that's illegal that you won the game. Let's just be real about it. So, that can go both ways. It is what it is. I can say if and bust and all that. They won the game.
You can. Hey, I tell you what, Corey. Ask your son when he goes to the locker room who has the trophy and who doesn't.
I can tell you. I don't have to ask him. I go to the locker room, and they got 16 of them. Okay, and I can tell you're the redhead stepchild to Alabama. You're the redhead step. That's what they'll tell you what's in their locker room.
Did you say redneck or red hair?
That's trying to grow up.
Did you say redneck or red hair?
Giants playing midgets. It's Giants playing midgets.
Wow. All right. Will, you still there?
I'm still here. I'm laughing at just how much of
you can't compare yourself to Alabama.
Absolute bullcrap. Because
be humble about
I get to fog up the trophy case with a national championship, and you don't.
You're kind of living in the past there, Corey. Here and now, today, Clemson's the bomb. Here and now, they got a better football building. They got a nicer stadium.
You got a slide. Oh, what would he do? You got a slide in a sleep room?
Nap room. It's a nap room. It's called a nap
room. My bad.
So does Google. Google's got those nap pods.
Wow.
Hey, Corey. Hey, very calmly, let me tell you this: when we go, and we look at our national championship trophy every single morning, y'all just have to swing by the police station.
Who was y'all?
All right, let's get your picks.
Corey, they go and just pick which one of that 16 they want to go shine.
Corey,
they really thinking about Clemson.
Corey, how do you think Clemson Louisville is going to turn out?
Well, I think it's going to be a really great ball game. I think the atmosphere at Papa John Stadium is a blackout. Lamar Jackson is going to solidify himself again as the best player as he was last year in the country. That same team, matter of fact, that y'all said, no, this is the best defense. Guess what? In the defensive line, I got a news flash for you, okay, all of you. that defensive line was better. They had Carlos Watkins with that same defensive line in your backyard, and he Mike Tyson you. He came in there and ripped you for 457. I just think he's going to be more confident at home. Yes, they lost some offensive linemen. They started some freshmen. I get all of that. He is the most dynamic football player in the country. And Clemson hasn't shown me nothing on offense right now. Kelly Bryant hasn't done anything. I mean, at 284 total offense, this guy, and they couldn't run the football. They missed Wayne the Train Gorman. I'm taking Louisville to upset Clemson at Papa John Stadium and send them home on the plane with that national ring, which basically mimicked that of Papa John's pizza compared to Alabama.
Phil, it was so nice last week not having this incessant babbling coming on the other side. I mean, it was so nice being by myself.
You had the whole platform. All right, Will.
I had the whole show to myself. It was so nice because I didn't have to listen to this incessant babbling that comes on the other side of the line.
All right, we got to move.
He missed me. He missed me. He knows that.
We did. We missed you dearly. All right, Will, Gamecocks in Kentucky.
Oh, I think South Carolina wins the ball game. I think that. I mean, I would love to see Kentucky win, but I think South Carolina's just too good of a football team right now.
Wow. All right, real quick, Corey, Gamecocks, Kentucky.
I think South Carolina takes the streak. I mean, they're at home. Hey, they copied Dabo. They got a DJ. They got fire. They got pyro. You know what I mean? So they got to win the game.
It's going to make all the difference in the world. And, Will, Tigers and the Cards.
Oh, Clemson's going to win the ball game. How do you pick against this team right now?
Yeah, you're right. Until they prove otherwise.
I wanted to quickly ask Will if hold it, Corey. If you're Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott, do you play ball control or you still want that element of the quick strike?
All right, Corey, we've got 30 seconds.
No, I mean I don't go against.
Will, we got 30 seconds
right now. I say quick strike.
Corey, got 30 seconds.
Well, you know, they got to score points because, again, that dynamic front they have at 11 sacks, he had almost 500 total offense in their backyard. They better control the football and play a keeper way if they're going to win this game.
Guys, we can't thank you enough. Corey, hope everything goes well with Christian. We do want to see him back on the field in a rematch with Clemson in the national championship game. How about round 3? Would you do for round 3?
No, we won't see them there. The only way they come, they're going to be there watching.
Yeah? What if the Gamecocks beat Alabama in the SEC championship game?
That would be great too. I would love
it. Now here's Corey. This will be interesting.
I will be saying hour for real, and we, like Will saying, I will be saying we let happen.
Now that's interesting. Would you be wearing a USC hat, or would you wear an Alabama hat? If that
I will have a USC hat, a Bama shirt, Bama drawers, and USC socks.
Split.
You can keep the drawers to yourself. We'll just use our imagination on what you're wearing down there.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Will, I love you, big fella.
All right, man.
You guys take care. We'll talk to you next week. Corey Miller. That's right. MVP of the Shrine Bowl back in his day.
Man, that was heated.
And Will Merritt, who was a good player, and he did play in the North-South game, and that helped him get a scholarship to Clemson. I think it came down to Clemson and Presbyterian for Will, and he chose Clemson.
Oh, really?
He was a good player. Did a good job in his career at Clemson, no doubt. Thank you, guys. Top of the hour break.
Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
Once again, thanks to the M&M boys for joining us here on Sports Talk. Gets no better than the M&M boys were, and they're at the top of their game.
Yeah, they're in mid-season form.
That was very.
It's only going to get better.
Very strong.
Oh, yes.
If the Gamecocks keep winning, and of course Clemson stays where they are,
don't even go
the
there.
build up to November.
Don't go there yet.
Will be quite intense.
Quit counting your chickens or Gamecocks before they're hatched. Roosters, all that.
Well, I mean, look, it's our job here to correctly forecast the future.
Can I make a confession?
Oh, by the way, I have to correct myself.
Can I make a confession?
Quickly.
I'm scared to be sitting next to that rooster on the field on Saturday. That rooster is imposing.
I understand.
The big spur rooster.
Yeah.
I'm a little terrified of that.
I mean, like, you're on the field next to him, the guy.
Like when you go down to the field, for the final 5 minutes or whatever.
You mean Sir Big Spur?
Yeah, I'm a little freaked out
I
by
don't think
that.
he's ever attacked anybody.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Not like what Uga did to the one guy where he went up and bit him.
Well, that was Auburn.
Yeah.
The Auburn guy.
Hey, I have to. This should be captured for posterity's sake.
The retraction segment of the Sports Talk
I have
program.
to correct myself. Last night, in talking about the last play by Louisville last year at Clemson, and when you say something and you're not 100% sure, in the back of your mind you think you're wrong, you should really go with your instinct. But the play-by-play sheet, I'm not passing the blame here. The play-by-play sheet identified Van Smith as the guy making the tackle, but we all know that it was Marcus Edmond.
Yes.
And I should have known that because I was there. And he made that was one of 2 key tackles he made during the season to save games for Clemson at the end. And I should have known that, so I want to correct myself. It was not Van Smith. It was, you wouldn't have known because you weren't here. Pro, I'm disappointing.
I watched the game.
But I expect Pro to step up and say that's incorrect. When you
I don't worry about it. I was worried about the guy who said that the yard marker was moved.
Also,
that's what I was worried about.
Dabo Sweeney said that Marcus Edmond still day to day with his injury.
Aren't we all?
That he said no. Yes,
we're all day to day. We are all.
Thank you, Keith Olbermann.
Today.
Thank you.
Did he say that first? I don't think so.
No, I don't think he said it first. I just remember he said it most prominently, I would say.
All right. Welcome back into Sports Talk. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. We're going to hear from Brent Venables if he has stopped throwing up over getting ready for that's what he said. He said he's going to go throw up after talking about preparing for Lamar Jackson. We're going to hear from him in just a moment. I would like to do one of our high school reports for tonight for you here very quickly. And then we're going to do recruiting here coming up as well. High school report brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. With new auto insurance rates from Farm Bureau Insurance, you could be saving a whole lot of money, even if you received a quote before. Rates are now more competitive than ever. Get a no-obligation quote today at Fave Rates. All right, want to give you the latest high school football rankings from the High School Sports Report through last weekend. Fort Dorchester is number 1 again in 5A, followed by Burns, Hanna. Look at T.L. Hanna at number 3. Dutch Fork and Conway at number 5. Then it's Spring Valley, Greenwood, Boiling Springs, Stocasty, and Irmo. In 4A, it's South Point, followed by North Myrtle Beach, Hartsville, North Augusta, South Aiken, Belton Honeypath, Greenville, Ridgeview, Eastside, and Greer. In 3A, the number 1 team is Chapman, followed by Dillon, then Newberry, Broome, and Gilbert. Then it is Palmetto, Strom Thurmond, Brooklyn, Casey, Manning, and Timberland. In 2A, Abbeville, of course, leads the way, followed by Barnwell, Lee Central, Cheraw, Saluda, Chesterfield at 6, followed by Carvers Bay, Gray Collegiate. Moving on up at number 8, Liberty 9, Buford 10, knocking on the door of the top 10, the mighty Vikings of Latta, home of champions, an institute of higher education and higher athleticism. And in 1A, Lamar leads the way, followed by Hemingway, St. John's, Wagner, Sally, and Lakeview. Baptist Hill is 6, followed by Cross, Louisville, C.E. Murray, and Scotts Branch rounding out your top 10. I do not see your
Bishops anywhere.
You're battling Bishops anywhere.
It's because they lost.
You need to pick another school.
I do.
Let me give you a school.
Do you want to give me one?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for suggestions here.
Whale Branch.
That doesn't sound like a Will Pelagic type school.
Academic Magnet.
Okay.
Huh?
We're getting there.
Military Magnet. Those are two different schools.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Have you found one yet? Nothing.
Gray Academy.
How about Gray Academy?
No.
No, that's not going to do it.
How about Latta? I mean, we got room for you.
I can't be on the same bandwagon as you.
Mm.
That's just too much.
Oh, I got it. How about Pro's old school, Denmark Oler? You want a hyphenated school?
No, you don't want that one.
You
want them doing basketball season, but not football.
How about Hunter Kinder Tyler?
That sounds like
the
a law
school
firm
with the most names in the state.
That sounds like a
Hunter Kinder Tyler.
Is Broome High School?
They just go by Broome, though. Yeah.
Broome, yeah.
So
the
Broome pick one, will you? Just pick one. Name a school and throw your heart and soul behind it and stick with it.
We'll make it happen.
Don't be a quitter. Since you're quitting on Bishop England, don't be a quitter. I'm gonna give you
Centurions.
All right, I'm gonna find one here for you.
That's fine.
I think you should pull for. Do you like a small school or a big school?
I want a big school.
You want a big school?
Give him the biggest school.
Well, that'd be Wando. Yeah,
Wando.
Give you Wando
down in Charleston.
No, I think you should be pulling for Gaffney because, when things go poorly there, they're not very happy people.
Oh, that's like me.
I think you fit right in.
I think that's much like me.
With the Gaffney Indians. Back to the phones we go here on Sports Talk.
John in Rock Hill first up.
Hey, John, welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, good. How you guys?
Good.
Good. I just had a quick question about the Carolina game on Saturday versus Kentucky.
Yes.
So I just haven't seen Kentucky play at all really the first couple of weeks. I mean, so what are they like? Are they struggling or?
Well, they're 2-0. They have not been overly impressive in their first two games. They have not run the ball as well as they have in the last. Well, of course, last year was really the first year that they had any success under Mark Stoops as far as a winning season or getting to a bowl game.
Boom Williams can help that. Having him on that team. Last year, no.
Last year, yeah, but he's not with them.
No, I'm saying having the success last year with Boom Williams was big.
Yeah, he was a good running back. They like Snell is a good running back. Like I said, he got a little bit banged up last week. He is the guy that kind of has emerged. They still run a lot of the Wildcat,
right?
So South Carolina, which has had trouble for some reason, Kentucky. Well, Wildcat by anybody has given USC trouble in recent years, but Kentucky in particular, everybody remembers.
The one thing,
the guy who I say everybody, and I can't remember his name. What's the guy's name that ran the ball down the Gamecock's throat for 2 years? Little guy, little running back.
Oh, I remember
the direct snap.
Can't remember his name.
Yeah, I have to look him up. But Kentucky is. I think that South Carolina probably at home has enough to handle Kentucky, this Kentucky team, and break this losing streak to Kentucky.
Brunson looks like the type of middle linebacker when he plays in the middle. That Wildcat will not fool him.
All right. Thank you very much for your phone call. We're going to go to Whitmire. Is that right? Coach Charlie Jenkins. Is that right at Whitmire, Coach?
Yes, sir. Hey, Phil.
Coach, I know why you're calling.
Well, I'm calling because if he's looking for a team to pull for it. Yep, and if it comes with a financial donation, then we'd be glad to have him as a Wolverine.
I can be bought with swag, Coach.
Yeah.
No, I want you to pay us.
No, I'm saying I can be bought with swag.
In other words, you send him a hat, he'll send you what, $1,000?
I'll send some. I could send some money. We can work out a
deal. Wait a minute. Doesn't that Newberry County School District pump a lot of money your way?
Oh yeah, just millions. We get 30,000 per home game. Yep.
30. Like I said, I can be bought with swag, guys.
Well, I see you're off to a 1-3 start. Got to get that offense going a little bit.
That's a tough sell, Charlie.
Yeah. Well,
hang on.
Gonna mention that too.
Hang on a second. We'll come back to you, Coach. Don't go away. Don't be right back.
All right.
near Union County.
Gotcha.
You go up 26, you see the sign for Whitmire. You got to go up through the country, and it's a little what do you call it? Old textile town that's pretty much dried up, but it still has its school. All right, we're back. It is Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Recruiting coming up in just a moment. Also, Brent Venables, Jake Bentley. USC, though, has gotten a commitment tonight from a 2019 defensive end in Atlanta. Rodriguez Fitton commits to the Gamecocks. He announced that on Twitter just a little while ago. And he is a guy that obviously Will Muschamp and the defensive coaches, Travaris Robinson and all, must really like. So they have taken a commitment from him for the 2019 class.
Like that.
Go ahead, sir.
Like that?
Yeah.
That's 2 for 2019.
I think that's right. Let me check my list. In the meantime, let's get back to Coach Jenkins very quickly. as he's trying to entice Will Pelagic to become a supporter of the Whitmire football program.
Yep. Again, you're welcome. We're glad to have you. And I know you was getting on my case about not having much offense, but and we do need to improve. We really do. We lost some guys last year that started for 3 years for us, but a lot of people would look bad against some of the people we played. I don't know who's voting Wagner Sally. And they need to be up at number 2. And Louisville, good Lord, if we played them Friday night and got beat 62-6, and if they are the 8th best team, I'd like to see the other ones. And Rich Spring ought to be in there too. And Phil, you know, I'm not the oldest person, but I just got my 25-year plaque at the coaches clinic this year, and I've been around some good players, and I'm telling you, those 3 teams have some good ball players on them. All 3 of them: Wagner Sally, Louisville, and Rich Spring. Rich Spring is so fundamentally sound, and just they're tough. They'll give Wagner Sally a fit.
How did you do dealing with Josh Belk at Louisville?
Well, I told him after the game that I said I'll be pulling hard for you next year. It's almost just boring to him. It's just a man among boys. He could go hard when he wants to, and our players said sometimes he was telling them where he was going. He's something else.
Yeah.
At that level, he really is. But one other thing I want to tell you and to spread the word is if there's any Steelers fans out there, that Donnie Shell, Whitmire Wolverine alum, 4-time Super Bowl champ, is going to be the guest speaker at the Newberry Touchdown Club on Monday, this coming Monday. And so if anybody wants to.
Well, I tell you what, I'm glad you mentioned that because that's a great club. But if you will tell us your next home game, maybe Mr. Pelagic can drive up to Whitmire, be a guest on the sideline of the Wolverines.
There you go.
Yep. We have this Friday it's homecoming against Branchville, and interestingly, Branchville, I think somebody can correct me, but we call it the K through 12 Bowl because our 2 principals at the time figured it out that we were the only 2 schools left in the state that played football, that 11-man football, that had their whole kindergarten through 12th grade, everybody on one site. I think maybe Branchville calls their elementary something different, but they're both right there on the same site.
Yeah.
So we call it the K through 12 Bowl.
And K through 12, you have about how many students?
Well, I don't know K through 12 exactly, but high school 9 through 12, we've got about 150.
Gotcha. Well, Friday you need me here at the home office because you're going to be gone.
True that, but we'll find a home game.
We'll have to find a home game to get me to.
Well, we'd love to have you. If you let me know you come, and we'll hook you up with some sideline passes.
Look at that.
Can we make it like a Will Pelagic night? Maybe get his name up on the scoreboard, and maybe the cheerleaders say something.
They got to spell it right, though.
We can put it on the blimp. The blimp shoots.
Hey, Charlie, good talking to you, man. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. When we do Whitmire scores on Friday night, we'll be very kind to you. Yeah, they got to pick it up a little bit. They're averaging 9.8 points.
He's the only coach who's called in, so he's the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Listen, you were looking for it. You're looking for kind of
well, the Bishops cast me away.
A struggling team that needs some support, and there you go.
You think it can be
not too far from here?
When he says there's 150 students at the high school, I'm worried about depth.
Oh,
that's what I'm worried about.
Trying to find 20 guys to come out and play
Talking
football.
about the depth on the Gamecock defense. Yeah. How about Whitmire's defense?
But he's right. That school, Whitmire, what's the other one? Louisville and Branchville. These are all very small high schools that can hardly get a team out there to play 11-man football. What's the other one?
Is there an 8-man league in this state?
Oh yeah, Skeeza has an 8-man league.
Yeah.
And Tannehill coached 8-man football.
Right.
There is let's see if I can find it here real quick.
Would you like us to vamp?
No. Give me just a second here. I'm trying to find the school where that was so small that they were barely keeping it going as a football team. Maybe they've shut it down. It was a couple of years ago. Their coach was the coach of the North-South game, and he was just telling me about how it was a battle to keep students in the school to where they could have enough to have a football team.
Right.
Because he was losing students either from graduation standpoint or moving away, whatever the case may be. It's very small, 1A school, kind of up in the Louisville, in that area, Whitmire, Louisville, and I'm not seeing it. Let me do recruiting here,
please,
before I drift off into something else.
Oops.
So we just gave you the news on South Carolina commitment. That is the second commitment for the 2019 class for the Gamecocks.
Rodriguez Fitton.
Defensive end, linebacker, also plays running back, and he is out of Washington High School in Atlanta. USC was an early offer for him, and he has made his commitment tonight as far as going public. Of course, like it is with anybody, 2019 signing day, long way away, and there'll be no doubt other offers for him, and there'll be maybe some visits here and there. Nobody stops at one, even though they do commit. They continue to commit to take visits. Like this one, Tennessee commitment, defensive end Dorian Gerald of Florence in the College of the Canyons Junior College in California, said he might be at the Clemson Louisville game this weekend on an official visit. At first, he has a game this week, and at first his coach was opposed to him taking this trip after Louisville came in there and set it up. There was some going back. And apparently his coach is like, hey, it's okay, you go ahead. Our job here is to get you to the next level. So if you want to take your visit this weekend, you go ahead. So that's not been nailed down yet, but it's something that he is looking at doing possibly. He has firmed up an official at USC November 17th and one to Tennessee the following week. Florida is making a very strong push, and he's looking at taking an official visit to Texas A&M as well as Florida. The big thing for him when it comes to USC, something he has told us before, when he visited USC before, he did not have his family with him. When he went to Tennessee, he did, and they did a great job of impressing the family and making them feel comfortable. So South Carolina, he said, has got to do the same thing when he brings all his family with him on his official visit. Yeah, and just make him feel as comfortable as possible. This is a good player. So far this year in 2 games, he's had 8 tackles with 2 sacks and 3 tackles for loss.
Impressive.
Now, South Point defensive back Stephen Gilmore Jr., who we told you earlier in the week, plans to announce Sunday afternoon. He's had USC, Louisville, Georgia, and North Carolina as his Final Four. A source told us this afternoon USC no longer is an option. The source said the Gamecocks, who would have taken Gilmore had he committed earlier, informed him they're full at his position, but they will continue to recruit him in case something happens. Here's the problem. USC's at 19 commitments for their 18 class, plus they have a couple of others who have to count in this class, really putting them at 21.
Right.
That leaves them 4 spots. And, you know, they're looking at guys like Channing Tindall, Dax Holyfield, the offensive lineman out of Charlotte, the Vaughn kid, Sandich out of North Carolina. That's just 4 that they're looking at to try to fill those spots.
As they say in this business, if a player is good enough, these things have a way of working themselves out. Maybe they have players who they grade higher than
Gilmore. I mean, they would have taken him had he committed earlier, but he wanted to play the game a little bit.
Snooze, you lose.
And I don't believe he's that level of a guy that you would take an oversign with and try and deal with that.
Right.
All right, we got some more news coming up, including an update on Zion Williamson. Be right back. All right, let's continue with the recruiting report here on Sports Talk on this Wednesday night. Offensive lineman Jackson Carman, Fairfield, Ohio, was at Ohio State for an official visit last weekend, and he confirmed to the 24/7 Ohio State sports fan sites his top three: Clemson, Ohio State, and Southern Cal. He said he will take officials to Clemson and Southern Cal, possibly to Wisconsin and Florida State. Defensive lineman Antoine Jackson of Blinn Junior College in Texas committed to Ohio State. He was also a USC target at one time. Half-brother of USC linebacker Bryson Allen Williams, started his career at Auburn. This one was a real mystery to me. I don't understand why South Carolina could never get more involved with him. Even in high school, he was just lukewarm to South Carolina the whole time. Even having his half-brother there did not work in their favor. Defensive end Antonio Anderson Jr., 6'3", 230, out of Lower Richland, having a good year, and USC has been watching him, monitoring him. He camped at USC in the summer, and they've invited him in for the game this Saturday night, and Travaris Robinson remains in touch with him. So it's a watch-and-see situation with him. He has offers from Eastern Kentucky and Old Dominion, also hearing from Georgia State, Appalachian State, Charleston Southern, and NC State. He's going to NC State for a game October 5th and Georgia State October 26th. 27 tackles and 3 sacks this season, 76 tackles and 6 sacks last season. Now to basketball. And Zion Williamson from up at Spartanburg Day. All right, now he has set officials with Kentucky September 22nd and Kansas September 29th. Previously had Duke October 22nd and UCLA October 27th. Kansas was in last night. Kentucky and UCLA in today. Frank Martin of USC will be in tomorrow. North Carolina is in on Sunday. I think what's going to happen is, my hunch is that with Frank Martin tomorrow night, they will set up a visit for Saturday for the football game, much like he did with Clemson. And then on Sunday, he will schedule an official with North Carolina. So I think that's going to leave him with officials to Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, UCLA, North Carolina, creme de la creme, and then unofficials to the 2 home state schools.
Gotcha.
USC and Clemson, and kind of treat that as an official, getting the full sales job and the tours and all that kind of stuff. Plus, he's been to both of them several times, so he wants to spend his officials at schools he hasn't been to.
Not like he needs to take an official to USC to see all that behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. Also, Martin offered 2019 6'8" Tyrese Samuel, a native of Montreal who attends Wasatch Academy in Utah. He told us that he doesn't know too much about the school, but he knows they made the Final Four. And he said Martin likes his length and his skill set to dribble the ball up the floor and pass and shoot at 6'8". Some other offers are Virginia Tech, Wichita State, SMU, Pitt, Baylor, East Carolina, Wake Forest, UConn, TCU, New Mexico, Vanderbilt, and others. No early favorites. USC will get one of the official visits of 5'11" Kristen Williams of Little Rock, Arkansas. Notice that I did not designate this as women, because we can't do that anymore. It's just USC. You have to guess if I'm talking about. No, I'm not doing that anymore. That's just not correct. You have to guess.
So you're going
if it's
to be
a man.
confusing people.
I'm just telling you. The person's name is Kristen Williams of Little Rock, and this person is 5'11", and this person is the
Dawn Staley is recruiting this
player
person
in the 2018 class to help ESPN. We'll get to that. So this person announced a Final Five of USC, UConn, Tennessee, UCLA, and Texas, and said that the USC coach, Dawn Staley, does that give it away?
Yes.
Is a major reason she's strongly considering the Gamecocks at this point. And because of her accomplishments as a player and a coach, and she can see that she can do the same things. So she's going to visit USC September 21st, Tennessee the 28th, Texas the 5th of October, and UConn the 12th. She's already been to UCLA officially. And tonight, when we write up recruiting, we've got a little story for you on the number 4 ranked girls player in the country. I am now following women's basketball recruiting.
We like it.
As it pertains to USC. I'm not doing anybody else. I'm sorry.
But we told you that.
But they are the national champions.
We told you a few years ago when Dawn Staley took that job that you were going to be doing this after a while. Because I said she's going to have a smoker. She's that good. And suddenly, yes.
She is dealing with the best of the best in the country right now.
I think you've teased Brent Venables long enough. I think we got to hear from the Clemson D coordinator.
You do?
I think we do.
Yeah, because he's finished doing what he's doing in the restroom.
I think so. All right, so Brent Venables met with us yesterday, of course, at Talking Tuesday up at Clemson, the defensive coordinator. He has seen the horror show that is Lamar Jackson up close and personal, and so he fully knows what he's getting into this week.
I mean, I really think he's really special, very unique. Doesn't have the size of Vince Young, but the things that Vince Young was able to do, improvise and throw it and run it, and just even when everything, sometimes the worst thing you could do against Vince Young was cover everybody. And obviously Lamar has that in him as well. I think the schemes that they have around Lamar are really exceptional, smart. That's no big surprise. It's an excellent system. They've tailored it. It's not just the spread QB run game stuff. It's a ton of things. There's a pro style to it as well that is just very multiple and makes him hard to defend. He's got a great arm, tremendous natural wire strength that even when you got the free hitter, it's like a 50-50 ball for us on defense. You can't count, you got a free corner on a blitz or something. You saw that last week against North Carolina, and he throws a 75-yard touchdown. The corner just falls off of him and throws a strike for 75 yards. And those are the kind of things that a special player can do. It's one thing to take what's there. He can make something out of nothing all day.
It looked to me like Saturday maybe they were incorporating more of the quick slant, quick out type build than they did last year.
That's their scheme. That's one of the things that they do. They attack you vertically, but they've got a ton of quick game. I think big bodied receivers and quick guys that they catch it in stride, man. They can split a defense big time.
Will Gray is more of a complete passer compared to last year.
He killed us. He looked pretty complete to me a year ago.
What about their offensive line? Have you seen significant improvements in them?
I mean, it looks, again, they helped him win the Heisman last year, so they look about the same. They started strong, these first two games. They had like 8,000 yards against North Carolina last week. Is it 8 or 9,000?
7,000.
Oh, 7,005, right?
What's it like watching film and kind of coming up with a game plan for Lamar? I mean, is there any fun in the challenge of it?
Some of it's fun, and then the more you see of it, the more sick you get. I'll be honest, it's like because of all the plays he makes, even when it's not there. And you're like, okay, that's a good call, and then you're looking for the result, and then it's +9, And so we're gonna have to really play well, and we're gonna have to play strong and physical in space. And we're going to compete for balls. We're going to have to win when the ball's in the air, play great technique, and have great eyes, good fits, all of it. I mean, we're going to, there's not a lot of room for error with these guys. He'll make you pay. Systematically, they make you pay, and then he can make you pay.
All right, Brent Venables. And afterwards, as he was walking away from the media, he said, all right, I'm going to go throw up now. And that's typical Brent Venables. I mean, the guy, I guess he's waiting on Kansas State, or I don't know. I think he is going to be a great head coach because, first of all, he knows his stuff. And number two, he relates to his players. He recruits extremely hard. He's got a great personality. He's tremendous with the media. He was successful at Oklahoma most of the time he was out there.
He's the most valuable assistant coach, I think, in all of college football.
And some guys like to coach. The higher you go up, the more you don't have that hands-on that some coaches want. He looks like a guy that really just wants to coach.
Yeah. And he's fun to watch on the sidelines, too.
Yeah.
He is intense. Just a matter of time for him. All right, we'll be back, and we'll see what's on the mind of Jake Bentley getting ready for UK. Back in a moment. Great Falls. Great Falls was the school I was thinking about.
Okay.
That was so small that they were going to drop the program. In fact, I'm not sure if they're playing now or not, but yeah, they were very, very teeny. Coach Ken Schofield was the coach of the North-South game. I remember talking to him, and he was just, telling me, man, year to year, I don't know if I got enough players to go out and play a football game. So,
right.
In just a moment, some comments from Jake Bentley. I want to bring this up. Don't know if you've been following this stuff, but this is kind of where we are in the world now. Especially this is coming out of Ohio State with the loss to Oklahoma and Barrett not playing well. Now you've got recruits, big-time recruits and targets of Ohio State suggesting to Urban Meyer on social media, of course, that he change quarterbacks and go with the hotshot freshman that they have there. What do you do if you're a coach? I mean, you're recruiting these guys like Jackson Carman is one of the main ringleaders of this thing.
Right.
This is a guy who's right in your backyard in Fairfield, Ohio. You want him badly, supposedly a great offensive tackle. And he's out there kind of trashing your quarterback on Twitter saying, hey, you need to go with another quarterback. I mean, what do you do if you're a head football coach in that situation? Because your future's tied to this knucklehead.
Right.
But here he is, kind of taking a shot at you and your program after one game.
It's such a slippery slope because at the same time you want to get the best players, but at the same time you don't want to have your authority stripped as a head coach, or at least your perceived authority.
And of course, Kirk Herbstreit, the heart and soul of college football, and an Ohio State fan and quarterback.
Although he said he moved away from Columbus,
and he's driven out of there because he's in Nashville now.
Still a fan. He's chimed in on it. It's become a story up there in Ohio, and listen, you through what the recruiting process has become, through the rankings, through all the camps, through all the lavish praise heaped upon these guys, the football world,
the royal
we have empowered these kids.
You think?
And they are kids. They're 16, 17. Man, I tell you what, if a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old went on Twitter and started suggesting to me who I should be playing at quarterback, I mean, when I pull the scholarship, would I say, hey, I'm bigger than you? Now, he might turn around and prove me wrong 3 or 4 years down the road.
Yeah. Do you want him going down the road to Jim Harbaugh in Michigan? That's the only question.
Well, in this case, Michigan is not in the hunt. It's Clemson and Ohio State and I just mentioned this third school. God, my brain's not working tonight. But my point is, whether it's him or somebody else, if I'm a head football coach, I'm like, wait a minute. We're not having the tail wag the dog here.
Well, still, you still get your revenge. You be the mature person in the room, and then once you recruit him and he commits, I got you. And then when you get in practice, come on, hit it. Come on, Oklahoma drill over and over again.
I don't know. You got to
Phil knows the quarterbacks don't do the Oklahoma drill.
That's right.
Now you know.
Spurrier told me that.
Oklahoma drill.
Anyway, that's just another mess in the recruiting world now that you gotta put up with. And it would take a very, very strong coach with a strong program and a big contract to tell a guy like that to take a hike.
Well, the thing is, I mean, you lose not that losing to Oklahoma is bad, but Ohio State doesn't lose games at the Horseshoe to anybody. That's the thing. And so when you are that school, you're going to be criticized if you lose a game like that in the fashion that they did.
Well, it's one thing if Johnny Fan does it, but I don't want to hear from a guy I'm recruiting who says you need to change quarterbacks, Urban. Urban, you need to play this freshman and sit Barrett.
Then you got to know that he's immature. That you gotta say, you have to be the big person in the room, just like when your kid may have sassed you, and you either send him to his room or you tan his behind.
Sassed me. My kids knew very early not to sass me. Let's get to it. Now, Jake Bentley, I bet never sassed his dad growing up.
I don't know if he ever did.
I bet he didn't.
Well, the one thing that I saw from Bentley when I was at Missouri is that he was a little wound too tight early, and it was something he addressed with us in his press conference Tuesday.
Yeah, well, with the first drive, we moved the ball down really well. Was converting on third downs. I missed some throws. I missed some throws early in the game that would have been touchdowns, and not necessarily a big deal. I mean, stuff that's definitely correctable at practice. But yeah, we just kept fighting though, and then the running game started to come alive for us. Started connecting on some more throws towards the end of the game and got rolling.
With it being your home opener, how do you go about channeling your emotions properly? Making sure you're not overhyped going into the game. Sail throws. Kind of getting a little bit juiced up too much going into this one.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the problem. Missouri, I was fired up, ready to go, and launched it over Hayden's head. But no, it's just, I mean, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting for us. But as a quarterback, I just got to stay level-headed and just, remember that, we have a game plan to execute and just try to focus on that as much as I can and try not to get wrapped up in all the emotion early on in the game.
Jay, Coach Muschamp talked about it after the game last week, how just trying to find plays to be able to get everyone the ball because there's just so much talent out there, especially when the pass plays, because obviously it goes through you first. How do you manage that? I mean, you obviously have so much skill. I know is it as simple as just looking for the open guy, or is it trying to figure out with mismatches? I mean, how does that all break down for you?
Yeah, that's one of the big things we look at is the matchups that we have on the field. A lot of our guys are favorable in a lot of matchups on the field, and really just by play calling. I mean, Coach Roper does a great job of calling plays to get guys open. It's a very unselfish group of guys, and so Debo scores, Hayden and Brian are cheering just as much as he is. So it makes my job easy. There's no egos to deal with or anything like that. They just want to win, and that's great to have on our offense.
That's Jake Bentley, and we talked about it yesterday. He needs to have a big game in order for us to, I think, be convinced that he has taken that next step as a true sophomore.
Yeah, he needs one of those 300-yard-plus passing games with about 3 touchdowns.
And to be honest, this whole offense as a whole needs to have a breakout game, and I think Kentucky is the perfect opponent for that.
All right, I want to go back to this. I just read this. I got to read this on the air. Now it's a little tit-for-tat between Herb Street and Jackson Carman. Herb Street tweeted after Carman and Micah Parsons, another big-time recruit, suggested that Dwayne Haskins get the shot at quarterback ahead of JT Barrett.
No relation to Don Haskins.
I don't think so.
The old Texas.
So
Western
Herb Street tweeted, "Can someone get a memo to all recruits of every school to please keep quiet and worry about their own teams? Not a good look for these guys." So that caught Carman's attention, and he tweeted back the following. He said, "Pretty sure I wouldn't have any problems in Dabo Swinney's or Clay Helton's locker room for my opinion on Ohio State's quarterback issues." Herb Street responded, "Spoken like a guy who's never been in a locker room.
Thank you.
Trying to help them avoid issues on their future team, not to mention not their place." So, yeah, listen, I think these kids, they just do themselves, I think, more harm than good in some ways. I'm sure Dabo's sitting back and going, yeah, this is great. You guys keep that up. I'll just sit back and watch.
The thing is that's one of the dangerous things about Twitter that people don't understand. Everything you can communicate with, in my mind, is a weapon in the wrong hands, which is why Herm Edwards gave the great advice ever. Write anything you want, son. Just don't push that send button. Don't push it.
I would love Urban Meyer to rise above and tell Jackson Carman, I'll coach my team. You play for your team. And at the proper time, if you want to become a part of my team, you'll be welcomed here. Otherwise, good luck to you.
It's just like Tom Landry told Mike Ditka, who changed.
Can we just go back to the time when Twitter was just sophomoric jokes about people instead of being criticism? Can we go back in time? Twitter was supposed to be fun.
Pandora's box has been opened.
Urban can't address a player doing this by name because that'd be against the NCAA rules. That'll do it. We have enjoyed it. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Stockton. Great job. We'll see you tomorrow night.